And this is Tucker, they, them in Iowa. Tucker is skeptical of nihilism and feels that our lives do have a purpose. Hi, Tucker. How are you? I haven't talked in a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute, hasn't it? Hi. It is so good to talk
how you
to you.
been?
And I'm sorry, what's your, up and down, normal life, normal things. How about you? We're going to make
Same thing.
a reunion call, right?
Yeah, we better not, because we know everybody doesn't want us to. But same things. Same shit, different flies, pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah. Although I do have one particular fly that's been lost in here for about a week, and I'm starting to get really tired of it. Anyway, I'm sorry that I do not remember your co-host name.
Mike.
Nice to meet you.
Nice.
Amazing, Mike.
Nice to meet you. Amazing. So I think that my story might intersect a little bit with Michelle. You had a great conversation with Michelle there. And what I'm hearing, what I heard from him was that his belief, gives him a purpose. Right. So I would say that most Christians would not believe in nihilism. But I do believe that we do have an inherent purpose, and I believe that purpose is to make our world a little bit better after we're gone. So I'm not necessarily saying there's going to be any end reward for me except on my deathbed. If I can go without regret, then I will have fulfilled my life. And that's a conversation I had with my dad a few years ago, a few years before he died. And death and afterlife came up. And that's something that he always wrestled with. That's something he always wrestled with. And when I was in the church, I tried. I tried to save him when I was a snot-nosed Bundy. And that backfired wildly. But towards the end of his life, he started to really think about, I think, in the Lakota religious traditions. He was very heavily into the spiritual beliefs and practices of the Native American and the Plains. And I think he took comfort from that. Native Americans don't.
Can I ask you a quick question, Tucker?
Lakota. Yeah.
Because I want to get back to the topic here. About whether we have an inherent purpose or not. If we did have an inherent purpose, do you think we would all know what that purpose was?
I think we all have our own way of fulfilling that. Some of us host call-in shows.
Well, that's kind of where I was going. I'm not so sure that it's an inherent purpose so much as a purpose that we ourselves choose.
But I think ultimately that purpose, as I said, is to be able to leave this world without regret. However,
but
the individual can accomplish that. And they can accomplish that by doing the things that come naturally to them. Do you understand?
Okay, so Jeffrey Dahmer.
I was going to go. That's where I was thinking going.
His natural, calling is to do those things he did. Consume humans.
Right.
do all those terrible things.
No,
Would you say that was his inherent purpose?
no, no, I don't. I'm saying that the inherent purpose for every human is to die without regret. Jeffrey Dahmer
Right, right.
is
What if that was the way
got,
he saw it, that he would live doing those things and he wouldn't regret doing those things?
That's the idea. What the idea I was thinking about is because we don't all think the same way, so we might think other ways of getting out of that regret, right? So like your way of relieving that regret might not be the same way that I would relieve that regret, or that Mike would relieve that regret, or Eli, our backup host, would. So it's hard to say, what that purpose is if we're all not having the same purpose.
I think that you're missing what I'm saying, because you basically repeated, when you say you and Mike and Eli and everybody has a different way of thinking, acting, making the world a better place. And that
But we don't have to all think that
natural
we're making
talent
the world a
and
better place. That's what I think you're missing, Tucker. That not everybody
but
thinks that they need to
no,
make the world a better place.
and I'm still working through that. Okay, I don't have a definite answer. My preliminary thoughts on that are that people like Dahmer got twisted up somehow. And
Okay, but my concern is that you're putting forth this idea that there's this purpose that everybody has, and is to do better and live without regrets. But again, how are we gauging what is objectively going to be the case for every person, what their purpose is supposed to be? And this is what you're putting forward, this idea that everybody has a purpose that we can objectively verify. How do we do that? That's the problem. And if you can't do that, well, then I can agree that we have purpose, but it's subjectively the case that we have purpose, right? And we can make value judgments about the world subjectively. And so we can be purposeful
that's
by our
where
own choices without having to adhere to some kind of objective purpose.
what I'm saying. You can be purposeful in your own way. This is not a dogma, guys. This is not a commandment. This is not a spiritual thing. This doesn't come from a spiritual belief. This comes from 6 decades on this earth, where I spent nearly 6 decades finally to understand that I had a purpose, and I was able to fulfill that purpose in my last few years of work. And I will look around at people who are making a difference, and I see that they have different talents and different goals and different ways of meeting those goals. And I think, like I said, I haven't completely, I haven't completely figured this all out, but I think that if there is a person who is doing harm, and I know that there are people out there who believe it's their job to do harm. See, they think they're doing their purpose, but they have missed the signals or twisted them up somehow.
Okay, yeah, and that's the thing I'm concerned about. How do you know the true signals, what they are? That's the question, right? Where are the true signals coming
That's what I'm
from?
saying. It's different. It's different for every person. To each his own ability.
Okay, so you're saying it comes from within, intuitively?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, well, we can agree that intuitively we have very strong convictions about what we ought to do, what we should be doing, and how we should be living our lives. But again, this is compatible with a view in which there's no objective purpose, right? I think you're conflating the two. You're conflating the strong conviction somebody has in their purpose versus with objectivity, right? There's a difference.
Yes,
Right.
but
You can have a very strong intuition about something, yet it not be objective.
I'm not saying that this is a mindless, following of some impulse. It's not impulse. It is, you feel intuitively what you can do according to your ability to live the life that will end with no regrets. And I know that you're going to keep on bringing up, what about people like Jeffrey Dahmer? And all I can say to that is that, we're each responsible for examining those impulses or intuitions and judging whether or not they advance the overall good. And if they do not, you have a responsibility to check out why you're getting those impulses. And people like Jeffrey Dahmer never tried, never.
But how do you know that? How do you know that Jeffrey Dahmer wasn't following his objective purpose?
That's what I was trying to think of before is like, you keep saying that we have different ways of this. This is why we're different. We have different ways of achieving this purpose. But the thing is, and I think that's something that Mike and I have been trying to get across, is that we don't all have the same purpose. It's not a question of having different ways of getting to the purpose. It's that we just have different purposes. And I think that's where we're running into the problem between what you're saying and what we're saying.
So you don't think that ultimately our yeah. So okay. So I hear what
Purpose
you're
that leave the world better than I found it. I believe it's my purpose to leave the world in a better place than I found it. And I know you've heard me say it's not about what if you've been bad or good in the past, it's about being better every day and making the world around you better every day, right? But that's my purpose. That's not inherent to everybody. But that's just my inherent belief. But my belief is not the same belief that everybody has. Not everybody has that same purpose that I have. Even though you and I might have have that as a common purpose, certainly everyone doesn't.
So you don't think everyone wants to be able to leave this world without regret?
I think a lot of people don't care about regret. And I think a lot of people don't care about making the world a better place.
And those are the people that never I'm not saying that you were born to make the world a better place by hosting Truth Wanted. And Bing, you were born to make the world a better place by no, it is based partially on, number one, you've got to recognize that everything you do has an impact on the world, one way or another.
Sure.
Maybe just within your familiar.
Sure, you've heard my butterfly speech, right?
Uh, see,
You know, like the butterfly
you're
effect,
right.
everybody be the butterfly, just doing a little tiny thing changes the whole world.
Right. Yeah. That to change the
Yeah,
world for
look, I
better.
think you're speaking to something deep. You're speaking to something very deep. There's an evolutionary reason why I think people have that natural intuition, because a lot of us are caregivers. We care about our children. We want our children to succeed, and you know that's what kept us in our tribes, our local tribes. We're very tribal animals, and so evolution describes this perfectly as to why most of us typically care for others and try to be empathetic. And of course, there are going to be anomalies where people don't care, right? But I think this is perfectly in alignment with, you know, a kind of view in which purpose is subjective. There's no, and you keep hinting to, there's got to be a reason why everybody has this purpose. There's got to be everybody must have this purpose, or there must be some kind of objective purpose that the world instills in us. I think that's the problem. That there's a missing link there. You haven't linked this objective purpose with us. Does that make sense?
Hmm. It, I I think that I get what you're saying. I just think that I'm not communicating very well. And that definitely your point definitely needs more thought. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Wow, you guys are really making me think.
Sorry,
That's why I
Tucker.
called.
Sorry, Tucker.
No, don't be sorry. That's why I called.
Oh, I was just joking. I love to make people think, and I'm glad Mike helped
I,
along with that too. Actually, probably Mike did more than I did. So,
yeah. Oh, you know me. I generally bounce back and figure things out, and if I make a change, if I have to change my thoughts, I'll admit it and go with the change. Hey, Mike, where can do you have content and where can I find it?
Yeah, TikTok, YouTube. I'm out there. You just search my name. You'll find it.
Just Mike, what? Mike. Oh, I'll find you in the
Andy.
show notes.
For Gandhi.
we'll talk about it too at
What's
the end
that?
of the show. So,
Okay, great. Well, thanks for taking my call, guys. And so far, good show, good thoughts. Thanks a lot.
well, thanks for calling, Tucker. I always appreciate talking to you.